movie reviews. This is my second video for the first view segment, which I recently started, where I'm going to watch classic must-see movies, or what's often called classic must-see movies, for the first time ever in my life. Like, for example, not too long ago I saw and reviewed the movie Bullitt from 1968, which is a crime thriller starring Steve McQueen, and today I'm going to review The Devil and Daniel Webster, which was originally released in 1941 as All That Money Can Buy. It's based on the short story by Steven Vincent Benet, and it tells the story of Jabez Stone, a farmer who is hit by a streak of bad luck. He makes a deal with the devil for 7 years of prosperity in exchange of his soul. Also, the orator Daniel Webster visits the town, and he becomes acquainted with Jabez and his family, but soon his family and neighbors notice that Jabez is becoming greedy and selfish. And when it is time for the devil to come collect, Jabez, realizing the errors of his ways, enlists Webster to help him out. Now, I first came across this movie as The Devil and Daniel Webster in a video catalog when I was a kid, and I remember not really thinking much of it. I thought, it's just an old movie in a catalog. And many years later, I saw director Joe Dante review it on the Trailers from Hell YouTube channel, and I thought the movie and its troubled production and re-release history kind of interesting. The movie was originally directed by William Dieterle, who directed RKO's 1939 production of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. This movie was originally released as All That Money Can Buy because RKO released a comedy with Jean Arthur called Devil and Miss Jones, and also conservative southern states didn't really care for movies with devil in the title. But what is also interesting is the movie came out the same year as Orson Welles' classic masterpiece Citizen Kane. Both films use special effects, lighting, and an unconventional opening credits, and both films flopped on their initial release. While Kane has gone on to become a classic, this movie has enjoyed a sort of cult following. RKO originally cut the movie from 107 minutes down to 84 minutes and re-released it as The Devil and Daniel Webster title. That didn't really improve the box office at all. And so over the years, when it was re-released in theaters or shown on television, it had all kinds of titles. Mr. Scratch, Here Is a Man, Daniel and the Devil, and many, many more. The 84-minute version was released on video, and then later on Criterion Collection released the original 107-minute restored print, and that's the version that I saw. And believe it or not, Daniel Webster was a real person. He was an American politician who represented New Hampshire and Massachusetts in the United States House of Representatives, and he also served as a senator from Massachusetts. Okay, now enough backstory, let's go to the movie. I can see why it may not have done well initially. It is more of an artistic than commercial film, complete with metaphors, symbolism, and the themes may have been a little bit too much with ordinary moviegoers of the time. I definitely enjoyed the movie, but I did have a few little nitpicks with it. With the movie itself, you can definitely, this movie can be seen either as a religious parable or about being self-centered and losing yourself once you get a hold of wealth. I like the themes of the movie, and Jabez's family is definitely religious, but I don't think it will distract from the story. They might come across to modern viewers as a little bit of stereotypical country folk, especially with Jabez saying stuff like "Gone sarn it" and all this other stuff. I love the photography of this movie and the use of special effects, especially the use of shadows and silhouettes. One of the standout scenes for me is when Daniel Webster is writing a speech about helping farmers, and the devil is in shadows whispering behind him in his ears and telling him not to think about others but himself only. Bernard Herrmann's atmospheric score is also top-notch as usual, and the cast is very good. Walter Huston is the devil, or Mr. Scratch as he's called in the movie. He is perfectly cast. The twinkle in his eye, his sly smile, and saying things that Jabez wants to hear, and he has a very good, dry sense of humor. Edward Arnold also delivers as the gruff yet kind-hearted Daniel Webster, and Jane Darwell plays Jabez's mother, pretty similar to the character she played in Grapes of Wrath, and Anne Shirley is Jabez's wife, and she's fine here. Another highlight is the trial, the famous trial scene where the jury is made up of famous traitors and murderers. It has been parodied on The Simpsons. You might remember the Simpsons episode where Homer sells his soul for a donut, or the episode of The Monkey where Peter sells his soul to play the harp. But this original version is on the edge of your seat, thrilling. The little nitpicks that I had with this movie is that it can be slow in spots. I found a list of what was cut during the re-release, and it seems RKO did something similar to when they cut up Orson Welles' Magnificent Anderson's movie that came out in 1942. They cut out the character development, and so they no longer had any feeling. I think it definitely could have used some trim still with its original running time so that you could see Jabez over the course of the film see a little bit more, see changes with him a little bit more quicker, but not too extreme. Another thing that the movie does is it does a lot of tell but not show. Like when Jabez hires his neighbors to work on this field, the neighbors talk about how he changed and they realize he isn't doing it for the good but for himself. And which I would like to have seen rather than have them, say that through dialogue. I also would have liked to have seen Jabez be even more arrogant once the wealth started to overtake his mind. But still, I definitely, if you could find a copy of Daniel and Daniel Webster, it's on Criterion Collection, I highly recommend it. Alright, thank you very much for watching, and if you want me to continue making this series, go ahead and post your comments and I'll keep it up. And also, if you want to check out my first version of the first view segment, which is Bullitt, I'll put it right here at the end. And also, check out the main page, look at some other reviews of movies that you can catch in the theaters or in your own home. Thank you for watching.